Ladies and gentlemen, life has a way of disguising blessings in the form of difficulties. What seems like a storm sometimes ends up watering the seeds of our growth. And if you ever want to see the most beautiful story of resilience, look into the eyes of a woman who has walked through struggles yet still carries grace in her heart. A woman's struggles are not signs of weakness. They are the strokes of an artist painting her masterpiece. Every sleepless night, every sacrifice, every tear shed silently is not a defeat, but a step towards her strength. She does not wear her pain as chains, but as ornaments of courage. We often admire flowers, but we forget they bloom only after pushing through the dirt. In the same way, women who face hardships rise with unmatched dignity. Because beauty does not come from an easy life. It comes from rising after being knocked down. True beauty is not just in appearance. It is in the fire that refuses to go out even when winds of life blow hardest. It is in the smile she wears after enduring storms. It is in her ability to bend but not break, to cry but still keep giving, to struggle yet continue shining. So when you see a woman standing strong, remember this: her struggles were her sculptors, carving her into someone extraordinary. That is the real beauty. Life often presents itself in ways we don't understand at first. What we see as struggles, setbacks, or disappointments sometimes hold the seeds of the greatest blessings we will ever receive. But the challenge is, when we are right in the middle of those struggles, it feels anything but a blessing. It feels heavy, confusing, and painful. And yet, if we pause and look back at our lives, many of the situations we once cried over, complained about, or even resented, ended up teaching us lessons that shaped who we are today. This is where the beauty of struggles lies. They disguise themselves as hardships, but in reality, they are the very moments that forge resilience, patience, and depth in us. Imagine a goldsmith working with raw gold. In its natural form, gold doesn't shine. It is full of impurities, dull in appearance, and not something anyone would treasure. But when the goldsmith places it in the fire, when it is heated and tested, the impurities melt away, and slowly the brilliance begins to appear. Without the fire, there would be no shine. Without the heat, there would be no value. Life works exactly the same way, especially in the lives of women who face hardships with quiet determination. Consider for a moment a woman who carries the weight of responsibilities on her shoulders, managing her family, her work, her dreams, and her challenges all at once. She may wonder why she is given so many burdens, while others seem to live carefree lives. But what she doesn't always realize in the moment is that every obstacle she faces is training her for something greater. Each struggle strengthens her ability to endure, to adapt, and to persevere. And in the long run, those struggles become her hidden blessings, equipping her with wisdom, compassion, and unshakable strength. It is not the easy paths that make people strong. It is the rough roads, the steep climbs, and the unexpected storms. If everything were smooth and simple, there would be no growth. Just as a seed has to break through the soil and face darkness before it reaches the light, a woman must face struggles before she reaches the full bloom of her potential. And when she does, she shines in a way that inspires everyone around her. What we call struggles are often disguised teachers. They teach patience when life doesn't go our way. They teach humility when we realize we cannot control everything. They teach gratitude when we finally see the value of what we once took for granted. And they teach strength when we discover that we can survive much more than we ever thought possible. So when life places us in situations that seem unfair or too difficult, instead of only asking, "Why me?" perhaps we can shift the question to, "What is life trying to teach me through this?" Because in every struggle, there is a hidden blessing waiting to be discovered. Some blessings show up as opportunities, some as personal growth, and some as the ability to inspire others who are walking through similar challenges. And this is the beauty. When a woman rises out of her struggles, not only does she see her own strength, but she also becomes a beacon of hope for others. Her journey becomes proof that struggles are not the end, they are the beginning of transformation. A woman's hardships are not her weakness, but her silent victories. Often in life, we assume that strength is loud, that it must be visible, that it comes with applause and recognition. But the truth is, some of the greatest strength is hidden in silence, in the struggles that no one sees, in the battles fought behind closed doors. A woman may go through situations that test her spirit to the core. Yet she rises each morning to continue her responsibilities. From the outside, it may appear ordinary, but within that quiet persistence lies extraordinary resilience. Think about the many roles a woman carries at once. She may be a daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, or a professional, and often all at the same time. She may face financial difficulties, health challenges, personal sacrifices, or emotional struggles, yet she continues to give, to nurture, to support. These daily acts of endurance, though unnoticed by the world, are her victories. They may not come with medals or certificates, but they shape her character in ways nothing else can. We live in a society that often glorifies grand achievements, winning awards, climbing corporate ladders, or reaching fame. But the silent victories of women often remain unseen. The ability to stay patient when situations seem unbearable. The courage to protect her family while facing her own fears. The strength to keep smiling even when she feels broken inside. These are victories of the highest kind. They show that her hardships are not breaking her. They are building her into someone stronger than she realizes. Let's picture for a moment a mother raising her children in the midst of financial struggles. She sacrifices her desires, works tirelessly, and sometimes even hides her own pain just so her children can live a little better. To the world, it may look like just another ordinary life, but if we look deeper, it is a story of victory, a victory of love over adversity, of resilience over despair. Or consider a young woman striving to pursue education despite countless obstacles, family pressure, societal judgment, or lack of resources. Every exam she passes, every step she takes toward her dream, is a silent victory carved out of hardship. The beauty lies in the fact that these victories are not loud. They don't need to be. They live in her strength of character, her ability to endure, and her unshakable determination to keep moving forward. While the world may see only the surface, her soul knows the value of each battle fought and survived, and this is why her hardships should never be mistaken as signs of weakness. They are in fact the trophies of her strength, though invisible to many. It is easy to celebrate someone standing on a stage with applause, but it takes a deeper heart to celebrate the unseen victories of a woman who stands strong in silence. Her ability to keep going without recognition, her grace in handling pain, and her courage to rise after every fall, these are the victories that shape not just her own life, but also inspire others who witness her journey. Every hardship she faces becomes proof of her quiet power. It shows that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. And when that strength is lived through consistent endurance, her silent victories become the most beautiful testament of who she truly is. Every sacrifice and tear adds depth to her courage. When we look at someone's strength, we often admire the way they stand tall, the way they smile, or the way they keep going despite challenges. But behind that strength is often a history of sacrifices and tears that have quietly shaped them. For a woman, every small sacrifice, every tear shed in silence, it becomes like water nourishing the roots of her courage. Without them, she would not carry the depth she does today. Life often demands choices, and women are frequently placed in situations where they must choose between their own desires and the well-being of others. A mother who gives up her comfort to provide for her child, a wife who silently endures difficulties to hold her family together, a daughter who sacrifices her dreams to support her parents. All these moments of selflessness may seem like losses on the surface, but they are in fact investments into her inner strength. With each act of giving, she discovers how much she can endure, and with each tear, she releases pain while allowing courage to grow deeper within her. Think of courage not as something that arrives fully formed, but as something crafted. It is shaped in the quiet hours when she cries but still rises to face the day. It is built in the moments when she chooses to continue despite exhaustion. Every tear is not wasted. It softens her heart, keeps her compassionate, and reminds her of her humanity. And every sacrifice is not forgotten. It strengthens her resolve and gives her the power to face even bigger challenges. We admire a woman's courage, but courage is not born out of comfort. It is born out of sacrifice. It is born out of enduring pain, facing disappointments, and still choosing to move forward. Imagine a sculptor working on a stone. With each strike of the hammer, the stone seems to lose a piece of itself. Yet with every piece that falls away, the true beauty of the sculpture begins to appear. In the same way, every sacrifice a woman makes, every tear she sheds, may feel like something is being taken from her, but in reality, it is carving her into someone extraordinary. There are countless women who have carried silent battles. A student giving up leisure to study tirelessly for her future. A working woman putting aside her own needs to support her family. An elder sister stepping into responsibilities too early so her siblings can have a better chance. These are not just struggles. They are the hidden bricks that build her fortress of courage. And though the world may never see the tears she cried or the dreams she laid aside, her strength will always carry the imprint of those sacrifices. The beauty of it all is that these sacrifices and tears do not make her bitter, they make her braver. She learns that true courage is not the absence of struggle, but the decision to keep walking through it. She becomes more empathetic, more understanding, and more determined. And this depth is what makes her courage shine differently. It is not shallow or surface level. It carries layers of stories, unseen battles, and victories won in silence. So when we see a woman standing strong, smiling, or inspiring others, we must remember that her courage did not appear overnight. It was watered by tears, strengthened by sacrifices, and built by countless moments of quiet endurance. Her courage is not just about being fearless. It is about having faced fear, pain, and sacrifice, and still choosing to stand tall. Just like flowers bloom after pushing through dirt, women rise beautifully through trials. We often admire a flower for its fragrance, its color, and its elegance, but rarely do we pause to think about its journey. A seed lies hidden underground, surrounded by darkness, covered in soil, pressed down by weight. It does not see the sun, nor does it feel the fresh breeze. Yet, in that hidden place, it quietly gathers strength. The seed pushes through the heaviness of dirt, breaks through the soil, and slowly reaches for the light. Only then do we see the beauty of a flower in full bloom. In the same way, the trials of life may feel like dirt pressing down on a woman. She may feel buried beneath responsibilities, disappointments, or struggles that no one else sees. But those very trials that seem to confine her are also the conditions that help her grow. Just as the seed cannot bloom without pushing through the soil, a woman cannot discover the fullness of her strength without rising through challenges. What appears as her burden becomes her training ground, and what appears as her obstacle becomes the very force that propels her upward. Think of the countless women who have faced setbacks and still risen with grace. A woman denied opportunities in her youth, but who later creates her own path. A single mother who, despite endless struggles, builds a life of dignity for her children. A professional woman who endures rejection after rejection before finally reaching success. These women are no different from seeds. They face darkness, weight, and pressure. But because they do not give up, their eventual bloom becomes more radiant and inspiring. Life's dirt is not meant to bury us. it is meant to nourish us. In the struggles that feel like they are covering a woman are the very struggles that strengthen her roots. Without resistance, there would be no growth. Without challenges, there would be no resilience. If everything were easy, life would not cultivate depth in her character. Just like a flower's fragrance is sweeter because it had to fight through the soil, a woman's strength shines brighter because it has been tested by trials. We often think beauty is only in what is visible: a smile, a graceful appearance, a calm demeanor. But true beauty comes from the story behind that smile, from the resilience behind that calmness. When a woman blooms after hardship, her beauty carries depth. It inspires, it uplifts, and it becomes a reminder that trials are not the end, but the beginning of something more meaningful. And when she rises, she does not only rise for herself. Just as a blooming flower brings joy to those around it, a woman's rise through trials inspires everyone who witnesses her journey. Her resilience becomes a source of hope for others still buried in their own soil. She becomes living proof that though the soil feels heavy now, it will one day give way to light. So every trial she faces, every struggle she endures is not wasted. It is shaping her, preparing her, and helping her bloom. And when she finally rises, her beauty is not just in her appearance, but in the courage, persistence, and grace that carried her through the dirt into the light. True beauty is born in resilience, not comfort. When we look at the people who inspire us most, we rarely admire them because they had an easy life. We admire them because they endured storms, overcame battles, and still stood tall. Beauty that comes from comfort may look appealing on the surface, but it lacks depth. The kind of beauty that touches hearts, that inspires others, is the beauty forged in resilience. When someone falls but rises again, when they are broken yet choose to heal, when they face trials and transform them into triumphs. For a woman, resilience often becomes her second nature. Life places her in situations where she must adapt, bend, and stretch without breaking. She may face heartbreak, betrayal, financial struggles, or countless responsibilities, yet within her lies an extraordinary power to rise again and again. And it is in that rising, in that resilience, where her true beauty shines. It is not in avoiding pain, but in walking through it with courage. It is not in escaping challenges, but in enduring them with dignity. Imagine a river flowing through rocks. At first glance, it looks gentle, but over time it carves its way through solid stone. How? Not because of force, but because of persistence and resilience. In the same way, a woman's beauty is not only in her smile or presence, but in her persistence, her ability to keep moving forward no matter how many obstacles stand in her way. Comfort may give ease, but resilience gives strength, and that strength is what makes her extraordinary. Think of the single woman who pursues her education despite opposition, or the widow who raises her children alone while the world doubts her ability, or the young girl who dares to dream bigger than the limits society places upon her. Each of them may face struggles, but it is their resilience that makes them truly beautiful. Their stories inspire not because life was kind to them, but because they refused to be defeated. Resilience has a unique way of shaping beauty. It gives a woman a glow that no cosmetic can provide, a glow of strength, wisdom, and grace. When she has been through storms and still carries kindness in her heart, that kindness becomes her beauty. When she has faced darkness yet continues to shine her light, that light becomes her beauty. And when she has every reason to give up, but still chooses to fight, that choice becomes her beauty. Comfort can create complacency, but resilience creates character. A woman who has never faced trials may appear graceful, but her depth comes alive only when she has endured. Resilience teaches patience when things don't go her way. It teaches adaptability when plans fail. It teaches empathy when she realizes others are struggling too. And all of these lessons, layered one upon the other, make her presence beautiful in ways far beyond physical appearance. Her resilience is not loud. It does not always shout its victories. Sometimes it whispers quietly, in the way she continues to love after heartbreak, in the way she continues to smile after loss, in the way she continues to give even when she has little. That quiet resilience is what makes her unforgettable. So, true beauty is not in perfection, nor in a life free of struggle. True beauty is born in resilience, the ability to rise from challenges with strength, to walk through storms with grace, and to let every scar tell a story of survival and courage. Her pain becomes an ornament of strength and grace. Pain is often viewed as something to hide, something to bury deep inside, but in truth, it can become one of the most powerful forces shaping a person's character. For a woman, pain is not just a burden she carries. It often transforms into a crown that sits on her head, a silent ornament that makes her presence dignified and her soul radiant. When a woman endures pain, whether it is emotional, physical, or even the invisible kind that weighs on her heart, she has two choices: to let it consume her or to let it refine her. Many times, she chooses the latter. Instead of breaking down, she learns to bend. Instead of drowning, she learns to swim. Instead of turning bitter, she chooses to soften. This transformation is what makes her pain not a mark of weakness, but an adornment of grace. Think of a pearl. A pearl is formed inside an oyster when a tiny irritant, a grain of sand, enters its shell. That grain causes discomfort and pain, but instead of rejecting it, the oyster covers it layer by layer with a substance that eventually creates the pearl. Something once irritating becomes something precious. A woman's pain works in the same way. Every difficulty she faces, every heartbreak, every loss, becomes like that grain of sand. Layer by layer, she responds with courage, patience, and resilience until eventually her pain transforms into a pearl, a strength so beautiful that it becomes part of her identity. There are countless women whose grace shines brighter because of their pain. A mother who has lost yet still loves, a wife who has been hurt yet still nurtures, a daughter who faces rejection yet still gives respect. Their pain, instead of hardening them, adds depth to their humanity. Their grace in the face of trials becomes their ornament, making them even more inspiring. Pain in many ways polishes the heart. It teaches compassion because someone who has suffered understands the suffering of others. It teaches patience because healing is never instant. It teaches strength because carrying pain requires courage. And when a woman carries all these lessons within her, she radiates a beauty that is not superficial, it is profound. Her smile holds stories, her silence holds wisdom, and her presence holds power. We often think ornaments are external, gold, silver, jewels. But the most priceless ornaments are invisible. The dignity with which she carries her scars, the gentleness she shows despite her own struggles, the strength she radiates after surviving storms. These cannot be bought or worn. They can only be earned through pain transformed into grace. It is easy to look beautiful when life is easy, but to carry beauty while holding pain, that is rare. That is what makes her extraordinary. Pain does not diminish her, it amplifies her. It becomes the silent proof that she has endured, survived, and grown. And though she may not flaunt it, everyone around her can see it in her calm, in her resilience, in the way she carries herself with quiet dignity. Her pain, therefore, is not a scar to be hidden, but an ornament to be honored. It is a reminder that out of the deepest struggles can emerge the most radiant strength, and out of the hardest trials can blossom the most graceful beauty. A smile after suffering is far more beautiful than one without struggle. Smiles are often associated with happiness, with joy, with moments of ease. But the most powerful and unforgettable smiles are not the ones born in comfort. They are the ones that rise after hardship. When a woman smiles despite all that she has endured, that smile carries a story, a strength, and a depth that cannot be replicated. It is not just a curve on her face, it is a symbol of triumph over pain. Think for a moment about a child's innocent smile. It is pure, carefree, untouched by the weight of the world. It is beautiful in its own way. But then, imagine the smile of a woman who has faced heartbreak, loss, or countless struggles, and yet still chooses to smile. That smile has a different glow. It carries the wisdom of pain, the courage of endurance, and the grace of acceptance. It is not naive, it is resilient. And that resilience makes it profoundly beautiful. Life tests everyone, but women often face trials that demand both emotional and physical strength. Whether it is holding a family together in difficult times, fighting for her dreams against resistance, or healing after deep personal wounds, her journey is rarely easy. Yet, when after all of this she chooses to smile, that smile becomes a beacon of hope. It says, yes, I suffered, yes, I fell, but I am still here, still standing, and still capable of joy. That kind of smile carries healing power, not just for her, but for everyone who sees it. There is something magnetic about such a smile. It does not deny pain, it transcends it. It tells the world that beauty is not about living a life untouched by hardship, but about finding light even in the darkest corners. People who witness it feel inspired because they know that if she can smile after suffering, then they too can find strength in their own struggles. Consider the smile of a mother who has endured sleepless nights, countless sacrifices, and moments of despair, yet watches her child succeed and smiles with pride. Or the smile of a woman who battled illness but now radiates gratitude for life. Or the smile of someone who was once broken by betrayal but has chosen forgiveness and peace. These smiles are not ordinary. They are extraordinary because they have been earned through suffering. We often underestimate how much strength it takes to smile after hardship. It is easy to smile when everything is going well, when there are no storms to weather. But to smile after tears have soaked your pillow, after battles have left scars on your heart, that requires a strength most cannot fathom. And when a woman carries that strength, her smile becomes more than just an expression. It becomes her crown. Such a smile is not shallow. It is layered with stories. It whispers of nights survived, of fears conquered, of resilience discovered. It carries both pain and peace, both loss and love. And because of that, it touches hearts more deeply than any smile untouched by suffering ever could. So, when a woman smiles after suffering, it is one of the purest forms of beauty. It is beauty that has walked through fire and still shines. It is beauty that has cried, healed, and chosen joy anyway. That smile is not just on her face, it is in her spirit, radiating strength and grace to everyone around her. She bends under pressure, but does not break, proving inner power. Life often feels like a storm, with winds so strong that they threaten to uproot everything in their path. Trees are pushed, branches are shaken, and the ground trembles. Yet notice something remarkable. While the rigid trees often snap in the storm, the ones that bend survive. Flexibility, not hardness, becomes the secret to survival. In the same way, a woman's true strength lies not in being unshaken by challenges, but in her ability to bend without breaking. Every woman, at some point in her life, encounters pressures that seem unbearable. These pressures may come from society's expectations, from family responsibilities, from personal losses, or from unfulfilled dreams. At times, they press down so heavily that it feels impossible to carry on. And yet, instead of shattering under the weight, she learns to adjust, to bend, to adapt. This is not a sign of weakness. It is proof of her remarkable power. The ability to bend means she is willing to accept life as it comes without letting it destroy her spirit. It means she can face disappointment without losing hope, face rejection without losing dignity, face heartbreak without losing love. She may be shaken, she may stumble, but she does not break, and that resilience is what sets her apart. Consider a working woman who carries the weight of her job, her household, and her own personal struggles. Day after day, pressures mount, but she learns to balance, to shift, to keep going. Or think of a young girl trying to pursue her dreams in an environment that does not support her. She faces resistance, criticism, and obstacles at every step, but she bends, finding new ways to move forward instead of giving up. These are not signs of weakness. They are living demonstrations of strength. What makes bending powerful is that it allows survival with grace. A rigid heart breaks easily, but a flexible heart learns to grow. A stubborn spirit collapses, but an adaptable spirit finds new paths. When a woman bends under pressure, she is not giving in. She is protecting her energy, conserving her strength, and choosing her battles wisely. She knows that breaking would mean losing, but bending means enduring until the storm passes. This inner power is subtle yet profound. It shows up in her ability to smile even when she is tired. It appears in the way she finds solutions in impossible situations. It reveals itself in her calmness during chaos. People may wonder how she manages so much, how she carries such pressure without falling apart. The truth is, her strength is not in pretending life is easy. It is in her quiet ability to adjust and still move forward. And this quality makes her an inspiration. Others look at her and realize that it is okay to bend, to rest, to take a breath, to adapt. True strength is not about standing unshaken in every storm. It is about remaining unbroken after the storm has passed. So, when a woman bends under pressure, yet continues to stand, she proves a powerful truth. Resilience is not about being unmovable. It is about being unbreakable. And in that balance between flexibility and strength lies her most beautiful expression of inner power.